Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. I'm your host, Allison Ankerstar, and today we'll be talking about Google's earnings, the importance of optimism in investing, and how to start a Roth IRA. But before we begin, as a reminder, this is a financial education presentation and should not be construed as personal financial advice. Full disclaimer information is available at ankerstarwealth.com. Good morning, Steve. Both Microsoft and Google missed earnings yesterday, but both sticks are up this morning. Can you explain why?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And this one is where bad news is kind of good news, but both Microsoft and Google released earnings yesterday, and they both missed. Right. So normally, when you miss earnings, you would think the stock would go down. However, in this particular case, both of them just kind of barely missed earnings. And for some reason, now that's good news, right? And so why is it good news? Well, everybody was kind of expecting the worst. And when you set the bar low enough with expectations, anything that's not that low now can all of a sudden be in tune, interpreted as good news. So here's the article off of CNBC Pro. It basically talked about how Alphabet and Microsoft both released earnings, and there's some others out there that did really well as well, like Chipotle, up 8%, Enphase Energy up almost 10%, even Boeing was up 3%. So a lot of good news from some big names out there. And of course, today we're going to have Facebook, Meta, as well as Qualcomm and Ford there. But when you look at Google, especially, I'm a fan fave, right? It's a big holding in the book. They just had their 20-for-1 split, and the stock really didn't move. But I do want to show you, look at the 6-month chart here on Google, and this is why it's such an amazing entry point. Right down here, it dipped all the way to 105 back in May, retouched that again, middle of June, tried at the end of June to get back to that level and just went down to 105, earlier this week, if you will, or last Friday, if you will. So, sitting there below 110 when it used to be at 145, I think is an absolute steal. Most people have, if you're with me, you probably have some Google or a lot of Google. But, if you don't have any, you could consider buying some here. Overall, you're getting an amazing firm for a 19 PE. So really quite a good deal on Google out there right now.
Next, the proper mental mindset is very important to any endeavor, especially investing. What's your take on this, and why is it so important?
Well, here's a Morningstar article, and again, the importance of optimism in any endeavor is really important. So to break into psychology a little bit, whether you're going to school, you need to believe in what you're studying. Otherwise, you're going to have motivational issues, right? Or if you're in a job, if you don't believe either what you're doing from it's applying your skill set, or you're serving clients, or you're making a product that is helping society, if you just don't believe in what you're doing, you're going to run into some motivational issues. And it really manifests itself in investing because you are putting your capital at risk, right? You're taking money that you work so hard for, and now you're trying to make money with it. And when that's not working, you challenge your belief system. And that's what people are seeing right now. It's been kind of a long year. Excuse me. The market's been down now, going on 7, almost into the 8th month here soon, with no end in sight, and overall negative theme in the media that the world is ending, and a lot of that's politics. But you need to believe in your investments. You need to, when you put capital to risk and you buy an investment like we do, every day, it's like you have to believe in those. And if you when folks are talking about performance, I always say 2 things. I'm like, okay, you either especially you're talking to me if I'm their advisor, I say you've either lost confidence in your investments or you lost confidence in me. Either way, you need to move on to something you feel more confident with. Obviously, when I say that, I would hope that everyone would have confidence in me, but I get it. It's human nature, right? So if either of those 2 criteria, if you lost confidence in your investments, we'll give up on what we're in and we'll go into some new things that you have confidence in. Or if it's me, then I have to, point you in another direction, right? So if you have a negative mental mindset, i.e., or you're watching too much, Fox News or CNN or whatever has got you down, that can affect you in a way to where you might end up selling your investments during a downturn when you should actually be a net buyer, right? So that's why it's important to be in the right place. Now, if you're going to be in a bad place, you should be in the agnostic place, right? Where you just look away and you don't care. As long as you have somebody managing your money that does care, then you can afford to look away and, just say, hey, Steve's got it, or whoever your advisor is, and don't have to worry about it. So overall, you need to stay positive with your investments. If that's affecting you, then certainly talk to me, talk to your advisor, and make sure that you have your money in the right place and something that you actually believe in.
Last, how can people get started with a Roth IRA?
Yeah, kind of a basic question, but I get it all the time. And, even if you've been investing for years in the Roth IRA, you might have been investing in it so long you forgot how you opened the account, right? And if you are a parent or a grandparent and you want to get young folks started on a good path, as soon as they start, if you're somebody in the family is getting a job, talk to them about a Roth IRA, right? Because at that point, they're below the income limit, 140 for single people. So good on anybody whose their first job is making more than that. But, if you get them started young, you start to develop the habit patterns of a lifetime, which is kind of what got me started and, changed my life. So talk to anybody who's younger, getting that job, and how do they do it? You can go through any brokerage. I use Schwab and TD Ameritrade, but I mean, Robinhood, literally Acorns, anybody you can open up an account with will have a Roth IRA option. So again, the benefits are, if you have to qualify for the income, and you can only put up to $6,000 per year in the Roth IRA. But if you start young, that's a lot of money, and that money goes tax-free, right? You pay taxes on it when you file, but that money is tax-free for literally the rest of your life. So if you think of somebody that's in their late teens, early 20s, they're looking at 5-6 decades, maybe more, with modern medicine, of that money growing tax-free. The government's never going to touch it again. So if you have any questions on Roth IRAs, but please reach out. But you can get started just by going in online. You can do it yourself. Click on the Roth IRA. Most user interfaces are so easy that you just click through, and people are thinking like, well, how much do I need to start? And I say it's far more important mentally to start to get in that habit pattern than it is what the actual amount is. So if you can only do $50 a month, do $50 a month. You're like, well, I can't buy a share of Google with that. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Buy something, pick an investment and roll with it, right? When you're just getting started, it's far more important to stick to a plan than the perfect plan. You'll get smarter and more experienced as you continue, but it's more important just to get started, right? So that's all I've got for the Roth IRA. It's a fantastic vehicle, and you should definitely be taking advantage of it as early in life as possible.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Please submit your questions as a comment through social media or directly to our email at vipservices@ankerstarwealth.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get daily updates. That's all we have for today's show. I'm Allison Ankerstar, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.